Hello everyone, I am Taureor and welcome to another one of my Hearts of Iron 4 challenges. This one is going to be pretty difficult and it was one suggested by you guys in the comments. I know it was suggested as a joke, but I'm going to take it seriously, and the challenge is to play as the United States of America and not get bored. The United States is a very powerful and very boring country in Hearts of Iron 4 because for the first few years they can't do anything. Well, let's see what we can do about that. I have actually made a video explaining the strategy I'm going to use here, but that was a long time ago, the game changed a bit, and also it was way before I started editing my videos down, so most of you probably haven't seen it. Anyway, the big problem with the United States is twofold: the Great Depression and splendid isolation. Together they make the country almost, incapable of doing anything, because we are so crippled by these two modifiers. But there is a way to get out of one quickly and then soon out of the other. The most important thing we need to do is a rush preemptive intervention. So let's start reaffirming the Monroe Doctrine. I've started my research, I have scheduled some construction, and that is about it for now. We have to wait, although I suppose I could gather up my forces. We're going to switch everyone to infantry divisions. And we don't have equipment for all of them, but we will train them up. That is about it. Time to unpause and plan our moves. We have reaffirmed the Monroe Doctrine. Now we need to do these four, and then this, and we're free pretty much. So it doesn't really matter in what order we do it. Let's do Caribbean Sphere, and we'll use that political power for some nice things. Spain has happened, and after I'm done with those preparations, we will be pretty much able to attack anyone in the world and succeed. I am producing tons of submarines. Yes, I know they're not strong, but they have a good range, and numbers do matter. We have to switch to an evil ideology. We can do communism or we can do fascism. The choice is yours, and all options are valid. However, I usually do fascism in those because they get a better focus tree and better puppets, but let's do communism this time, just for variety. Central America done. Let's do neighbors, and with this political power we have to hire a silent workhorse, because political power is something we severely lack, and Robert Taft is going to help with that. We have trained up some of our army. These guys are going to invade Venezuela. Patton or Bradley? For this army, let's take Bradley. Neighbors done. South America next. Let's open up political discourse. Oh, elections. Can we get communists in the government? We cannot. Perhaps if I rushed WPA first, maybe then we could. No, it's fine. So we can get a New Deal, or we can get an industrial research buff. Let's get New Deal. It's going to be helpful. Yeah, I timed this wrong. Should have started with WPA. It's fine. We would have gotten communism faster if I did that. But we are alright. Anyway, let's do Pax Americana. There's a lot of research buffs we could get, and we probably should get. However, I need to save up this political power for other things. Pax Americana is done, and now we do the most important focus. Preemptive Intervention. Let's do that. And here it is, Preemptive Intervention. The holy grail of getting free from those modifiers as the United States. So immediately we're going to attack Venezuela. We're going to, because we got a war goal from it, not a claim, not anything like that, a war goal, which means we can declare war even as a democracy. So here you go. But make sure to not annex them, not defeat them yet, just be at war with them and get a nice, foothold in their territory. What's next? Well, now we have free reign of a lot of stuff. Let's start with WPA, then do Committee on Technocracy, and then stuff. Now, the most important thing we got by attacking Venezuela is this. We can now replace undisturbed isolation with civilian economy. This is not a huge step, but it is opening up possibilities, because now we can go to whatever we want if we have sufficient war support and stuff. So that frees us. As for disarmed nation, we don't actually need to go to volunteer only yet. We will get that through a focus. But we still have the Great Depression, so we do have to be very sparing with our use of political power, which is why I'm not going to hire anyone else right now. We need some reserve political power, and the invasion of Venezuela is happening. Alright, let's not go too far. Alright, got Caracas. Now, being at war gives us access to some focuses, which is why we want to stay at war. In the meantime, let's open up political discourse and get ready to switch to communism. Amelia Earhart wants to enlist. An ace is not worth 10 political power. Sorry, Amelia. That will not be necessary. Hey, I told you not to go that far. We're also gaining army experience from this. Leadership purges, Japan attacked China, and WPA is done. Oh, we could do war propaganda. Oh, right, because Japan is in an offensive war. We could do that, yes. But that can wait. We need this a bit more. Committee on Technocracy is going to give us 3 electronics bonuses, and the key is to use them properly. These 3 things. 1, 2, 3. Let's do war propaganda and then go down this path. Increase in popularity of communism. That is going to let us switch ideologies almost immediately. Wonderful. Our communist support is over 40%. Now what we can do is discredit the government and immediately hold the referendum. And congratulations, we have embraced the evil ideology of communism and we can attack people. So, who shall we attack first? Well, we could go against the UK, but the naval invasions would be a lot of unnecessary trouble. So, I'm thinking the Iberian Peninsula, either Portugal or Spain, and then we go after France. Now, let's just do Portugal. Let's do Portugal and then we can do a quick naval invasion of France through here. If we want to, or we can go after Spain, whatever. Anyway, let's start working on Portugal. Justify war goal. Azores seem fine. We might need to take them anyway in order to reach their territory. And there will be a little bit of a race for French territory against Germany. Now with war propaganda done, we have some nice options here. Let's start with military construction, and we need to stay at war until we start this one. Can my fleet actually reach Portugal? Doesn't seem so, but they do have an island here, and when we take that, we will surely be able to reach them with no trouble whatsoever. I suppose I could have taken the design company for naval stuff. This one, the Pacific Design Company, yes. That would increase my range and then research better submarines, but we won't actually need it. Time to start making some military factories. Right now, when we start this, we can actually finish dealing with Venezuela if we so choose. So let's do that. Ah, that is Venezuela. Now we have 2 options. We can annex them or we can puppet them. The wise thing to do, the better thing to do, is to puppet them, because then you can get a lot of manpower from them. On the other hand, as the United States, we do have a lot of manpower, so it is not necessary. And we could paint everything a lovely shade of blue. Yeah, let's just take everything. Detach 2 of your units into a separate army. Yeah, I haven't even given you a field marshal, but it wasn't necessary in Venezuela, although I probably should have done that. Let's start. You go from here over to Portugal proper. Just land, let's say, over here. And the smaller army, that will be under the direction of Mr. Patton, is going to land over in the Azores. Also, let's assign you a field marshal, and that is going to be Mr. Eisenhower. Oh, can I give refuge to German and Italian scientists? Yes. I thought that's only available if you are democratic, but apparently communists can do that too. Wonderful. Let's do that, because that gives us a huge research bonus. Nationalist Spain is going to win, it seems. We'll take them anyway. Ah, wonderful. Justification is complete. Let us attack Portugal. Go, 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 declare war. Conquer. Now, as soon as we take the Azores, we will have our range extended and we'll be able to strike at continental Portugal. And now, I think it's time to start justifying a war goal on France. Go with Britain, they will get an alliance. Maybe it's better to justify against Britain directly. No. Yeah, let's just attack France. It will be nice if we can do it before Germany does so. Oh, they have prepared the defense here. Are those 2 units enough? I hope so. Looks like it. Oh, right. Now we can reassign our fleet to cover the Portuguese coast. And our range has increased very, very significantly. Now you cover these 3 and Bradley should be able to launch his attack. Portugal shouldn't have any navy left. France and Britain announce alliance. Yes, unfortunate, but fine. Let's do the giant wakes. And we have landed. Wonderful. Right, Bradley, you need to have 24 units total. Go on and attack aggressively, but I will give you some manual orders first. Take Porto, get me a port, get me supplies, and that's enough for Portugal pretty much. Go. Probably should have landed in Porto directly, but I expected them to garrison it. If you guys get yourselves killed, I'm not going to forgive you. Oh, right, that's fine. They have handled the situation. Why are you guys not traveling there? Alright, I'm getting a bit annoyed. Let's get you guys to Washington and then manually transfer you to Portugal. Isn't that better? Just defend the port until reinforcements arrive. And here they come. Let's get an infantry expert. I should probably get some more units because we will have to fight Canada as well. Let's make an edit army. We're going to make it better once we have the manpower. And train lots of those guys at the highest priority. Now we won't be able to deploy ships for a little while, which is a bit of an issue. Taking Lisbon should do it. And here it is. Alright, I did mention we are going to paint the world blue, so let's paint the world blue. Alright, that deals with Portugal. Let's prepare our naval invasion of France, and this time Mr. Patton is going to lead it. So that will give us limited conscription. From there we'll jump to extensive conscription, and thus have manpower, finally. And when we start a war with the UK and France, we'll be finally able to get rid of the Great Depression. Make sure to deploy as many of those as possible. We do need to prepare some nice attacks. Now, how long until the war goal is ready? Not too long, actually. They do need to wait until Patton is ready anyway. Now, they don't have manpower, but soon they will. Let's get you generals. Mr. Hodges, your turn. Seems like we need to do partial mobilization. It is almost as good. Yeah, sure, let's do partial mobilization. I was hoping to save those points for extensive conscription, but that can wait a bit. Justification is ready. No need to delay this. Let's attack France. Can you guys launch the invasion? Looks like yes, you can. Can you guys land the invasion? Well, that is another matter. You've caught me and my huge fleet. Canada has been called in. How well can you do against Canada? I'm suspecting quite well indeed. Alright, let's land in France. See if we can land in France. The Soviets are inviting us to a faction. That could be beneficial, but it isn't really necessary. So let's not join them. Yeah, the convoy escort was more than needed. Very, very necessary. Yes, finally, we have landed in France. Now, I will need to send some more troops here, but let's capitulate Canada first. Where are the French troops, though? Did you send them all to Canada? Are there the rest of you transferring? Yes, you are. You might get caught on the way, which is a bit of a problem, but not a huge one. Now, our army is not strong enough to deal with France on its own. I mean, this army that we have in this area. You know, we'll reinforce them soon. New army group, this time led by MacArthur, and all of you need to be on your way to France. The French are not very well prepared, but we don't really have a huge army in the area. We'll need to wait for all those guys to arrive in order to have a nice chance of winning here. Bit of Czechoslovakia and the extra research slot, and finally we can issue war bonds, which we should have done in the previous focus. Our guys got largely killed on the way, which is a bit of an issue actually. Yeah, it's always problematic to ferry troops around when you're fighting the Allies. I mean, I could have tried to secure the route. Now, this is not ideal, of course, but it is good enough. France should soon be ours. And then Britain. So, Mr. Patton, how are you handling France? Canada has capitulated. Wonderful. That's a lot of guns for me. Ah, finally. War bonds. Finally, we are out of this horrible thing. Italy joined Axis. We don't really mind. Okay, I screwed up. The armies got killed in transit. Should have defended them. Oh well. Now we know. And knowledge is, power? Let's finish off France, shall we? Poland refuses German ultimatum, which means Germany is attacking Poland. Poland is joining allies, and Germany will soon be at war with our targets as well, which is unfortunate, because they might get our stuff. France has finally capitulated. All goes to us. Yes, I kind of screwed up on the naval transport of these guys. We lost so many units, but fortunately they were only, if I remember correctly, they were only at 10% manpower, so in fact we did not lose that much. And you guys need to prepare an invasion of Britain. We can't do Manifest Destiny, unfortunately, but we can do Arsenal of Democracy. Netherlands capitulated. Can we get bits of Belgium, please? Here, take Ghent. Here, take Antwerpen. Now we need to focus on the English Channel. You guys go there, and my whole fleet needs to do the same thing. And now we have naval superiority. We can land if we want to. My invasion of France was rather sloppy, but we're going to make up for that in a moment. Oh, Denmark capitulated already. Yeah, we're going to take care of you next, Germany. And the General Patton is about to invade Britain. What did you guys do? Oh, crap. They were here and they decided to navally transport themselves, I think. Yeah, that's what happened. They decided to navally transport themselves through an area full of enemy ships, which was incredibly stupid of them. Why did you do that? I have no idea. Right, Mr. Patton is launching his invasion of Britain. And there we are. This is not going to take too long. As you can see, the British were, as usual, unprepared for a naval invasion. Hungary joined Axis, we don't really mind. I wonder how much war score will Germany get from this. Should I ally the Soviet Union and double-team the Germans? Yeah, let's do that. Let's double-team the Germans. No, Soviet Union, you cannot join my war. I'm about to win it on my own. Yeah, they did retake a bit of territory here. But that's not a problem. I'm going to make them capitulate in a moment anyway. And actually, the thing that we lost so many troops on transit because, I couldn't be bothered to send ships to protect them, might work in our advantage because we'll get more war score than the Germans. Finally, the UK has capitulated, and we do have a way more war score than the Germans. So, what do we take? We can leave them this area, but I do want the UK and France. Should I puppet? Maybe I should puppet. Nah, we're supposed to do a lovely blue color. Fortunately, this is as much as we can take in this round. Let's do that. Boom! Now, Germany, what did you do? Some Polish and Benelux territories. I'm okay with that. Done and done. So, we now own Britain, France, Portugal, Africa, essentially. Yeah, looking good. Canada is ours too. 1940. Do we double-team Germany with the Soviets now? Yes, probably. Unfortunately, at this moment, my voice stopped being recorded, so this is no longer live commentary, but rather post-commentary. I'm not sure what happened, probably my mic got disconnected or something. Anyway, afterwards, I decided to attack nationalist Spain and justify the war goal on them, and attacked. I have prepared my troops on the borders of nationalist Spain as well as Italy and Germany because I expected Spain to join the Axis. That, however, did not happen, so we could easily defeat the Spanish. However, we were part of the Comintern, and the Germans have broken their Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and attacked the Soviets. So, we were at liberty to do what we please with Spain, and then proceed to attack Germany and Italy on our own terms when we felt like it. As for Spain itself, it didn't really put that much of a fight, although it's hard to blame them when we are a huge country with 700 factories and a large pool of manpower and wonderful generals, so they did not stand a chance. Keeping in mind that we wanted to paint the world blue, I decided to annex Spain. Afterwards, we have prepared our troops to attack Italy and Germany. I have transferred all my troops there, and I asked the Soviets if they want my help in their war, and they of course agreed. Now, the two naval invasions of Italy were, very helpful. We could execute them because we had a huge fleet. Unfortunately, our troops were not the best. I was using just infantry with support companies. If I was using infantry with artillery, or if I had the time to train my infantry up to higher experience levels, this would have gone in a much easier, manner. However, I did not have the time to do that. Italy was defending quite valiantly. They do have a lot of mountains in their territory, which made it easier. However, my two southern naval invasions in Italy did disrupt their defense sufficiently for us to be making gains. As for Germany, they were not as defensive as Italy. It was actually much easier to deal with the Germans, although again it's hard to blame them because they had to fight us on one side and the Soviets on the other. As for the attack on Italy, if I didn't have a huge fleet there, I wouldn't really be able to cut through the Alpine region, and I would have to first defeat Germany and then attack Italy from the north. That's how well they were entrenched, or rather how weak my army was relatively, because, again, they were all green. I didn't have time to train them properly, and I did have some manpower troubles. It is most likely due to the fact that I put everyone on aggressive, which was a mistake. In such a confrontation with a lot of regular infantry, I probably had to go with balanced for a better result. All in all, it ended quite well because we made Italy capitulate and we could transfer all our troops to deal with Germany, Hungary and Romania, and Croatia and Slovakia. It did not take much longer. Also, I kept editing my templates, adding better support companies. We ended up with a 20 with pure infantry, with artillery, anti-air, engineers, scouts, and the signal companies. I was about to say radio companies, signal companies. Okay, that is a pretty decent template, although in retrospect we might have been better off if I went with the S7-2 template and went with the line artillery path in our combat doctrine. Anyway, the Germans did not stand a chance in the long run. It was just a matter of time, especially if you have a look at how many factories we had to reinforce our troops. And the Germans capitulated, and so did the Croatians. However, the elimination of so many countries earlier made Hungary and Romania advance to, I'm not sure, I don't remember what it's called in this game, the equivalent of great powers. Major nations? Yeah, I think major nations. So now we had to deal with Hungary and Romania as well. Now that wasn't really a problem if you compare our forces and so on. But it did prolong the war a little bit. I decided in the meantime that I want to take out Switzerland and be rid of their vile neutrality in the middle of our territory, because it was making our borders look not so great. So we justified a war goal on Switzerland and prepared an attack. As for Romania, I just gave a lot of my troops a manual order to just go straight for Bucharest, because this was clearly, an uneven fight, and they did not stand a chance. And here goes Romania. In this peace conference, I decided to shadow puppet everyone, because that made sure that the Soviet Union couldn't puppet them. Now, if you don't know, if you're unfamiliar with that, shadow puppeting is a strategy. I think I was the first to come up with this. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm the first to coin the term shadow puppet. I should probably do a video explaining how you do this exactly. But long story short, you have to take all states from a country and then puppet them and satellite countries from them. This will effectively do puppets and satellites with the 0 provinces. And then you cancel the taking of all states. This way you have sort of virtual puppets out of that. Which ends up with puppets that are not really there. However, doing it prevents other countries from puppeting. We have taken as much land as we could. The Soviets, of course, grabbed a bit as well, but that was not a problem because we proceeded to justify a war goal against our former allies, the Soviet Union, next, and, of course, prepare an attack. The attack was nothing special, just regular front lines and 2 naval invasions through the Baltic Sea. Oh, I almost forgot, also 1 invasion through Norway. And they did hold a bit of Denmark, but that was quickly remedied. The Soviets could not match our forces in strength, although they could probably match them in numbers. I did not check the numbers exactly. But our massive industry made it possible for us to have a lot of fully equipped modern units. So defeating the Soviet Union was as pretty much from the end of us conquering Britain and France. Every other victory was just a matter of time because we were powerful enough to pull it off. Anyway, in the middle of our fight against the Soviets, we were cowardly attacked, stabbed in the back by the Japanese. The Japanese actually decided they want to attack the Philippines and declared war on them. Now, I actually decided to ignore this completely because Japan was not really a threat to us. Not while we had over 1,000 factories and millions of manpower available, and a huge fleet also. We could invade Japan at this point, but I decided that would probably make me fail the challenge, and remember that the challenge was to not get bored. And having to contend with, at this point, much weaker Japan would probably bore me really, really quickly. So we just proceeded to end our fight against the Soviets, capitulate the Soviet Union, and annex all of it, thus creating a huge communist state that spanned all the world. Spanned, yes, that's spanned. That's the word I was looking for. That spanned all of the world except from the Middle East, Turkey, Greece, China, Japan, bits of around the Philippines, and South and Central America. Oh, and the lower tip of Africa. Now, quite obviously, I could easily prolong this to world conquest and take everything, but at this point it would be boring, so I decided to end it here. And here I'm checking how strong Japan is. Well, they have 50 civilian factories. I have 1,797 factories total. So at this point I decided to end the challenge. And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments, what I did right, what I did wrong, what you would have done differently. And yeah, thank you for watching. Also, make sure to suggest what my next challenge should be, because this one, well, this one was quite silly, wasn't it? But it was also one of your suggestions in the comments. That is it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you soon. Goodbye.